Good morning, my Teaserking family. Sorry for my absence, but this gout has been killing me since Thursday. I got colchicine finally yesterday into the doctors, so it's a little bit better. I can walk with a little bit of pain, but not too much. So I'm going to try to get out and take a hot tub at the club. I won't swim, maybe soak my foot. And definitely the colchicine was better. I tried some Soul Ray ultric acid cleanse, but it really didn't work. So I gave that a shot and a few other things, but basically not good. It doesn't, for whatever reason, whatever causes the gout, it doesn't just go away without like this colchicine for some reason. You would think after a few days your body would eliminate whatever is the cause, but it's almost like it's just packed in there, and it's these like ice needles, like just needles in your foot, and it must just block, right? And here comes, and it just keeps going in, and when you try to move, the needles just hit, and it's just extremely uncomfortable. So I've been on the couch. I can't even sit. And anyway, I'd given you most of the picks on Thursday. Huge week. We went 10-1 in the pros, and in the college, we did extremely well. We went 3-1 with everything I picked winning except for the UTSA game, but my picks were 3-1. So let's review the pros first. So Frisco, Seattle, I gave you the under, and the under wins 21-13, 34. Seattle gets a late touchdown. I like Brock Purdy. He looks okay. Seattle just has no defense. Excuse me, I'm going to eat a little bit as I go because I haven't really eaten much. I don't want to wait till I'm done eating to do the show. So please excuse me for that. So Frisco looks strong, shutting down the powerful Seattle offense. The key to the defense is getting pressure on the quarterback. You can get pressure on the quarterback. It doesn't matter, as Georgia showed you with Tennessee, right? Hooker's great against Alabama, but then he comes up against the Georgia defense, and he has no chance. So that's what you get for it. Yeah, I'm not going to reach right now. My foot's still a little tender. So if you can pressure the quarterback, that's the best defense. Frisco apparently can do that very well, but that's the difference. And that's what you're looking for. That's why you don't want to take Seattle against Frisco. And that's why I lay away from teams and play over-unders, is it's just too difficult to try to, how's Frisco with Purdy? Seattle, we know, can score, but doesn't have a great defense. Walker played. So Seattle didn't play a bad game, but up against Frisco, and their defense is just too weak, which is the first lesson we're going to teach here. Is that's why we don't play strong offensive teams with weak defenses. We go over with them. And there was several cases. If we just look at the board, Minnesota, Buffalo, and Miami, and Detroit, Kansas City, and Dallas, Oakland, San Diego. We basically just, that's why we stayed away from most of those, because they don't have a defense. So let's go Minnesota. So Saturday we get Minnesota, Indy. We have Minnesota plus 2.5. We get a miracle. First of all, they get a block punt and a pick six, and it's 30-0 in a game that I don't understand how it's 30-0. Where was Kirk Cousins in the first half? Where was Jefferson? Where's everything that happened in the second half? How do you just don't use it? How bad a coach are you that you can't go, you know what, this is what we need to run versus this defense? And then, so in the first half, it's 30-0. And then second half, you light it up and you win you tie the game and win the game 39-36. So You had the matchups you wanted. Where was that in the first half? Another block punt. What's going on with that? And another pick six. Well, the block punt comes from too many third stringers playing, right? So you have so many injuries because of how no training camp. And here's where it comes back to haunt you. You've lost some good guys the first few weeks, the pulled hamstrings and everything else. And then you get into playing, and then you don't have anybody left because you only draft. You see, any team that has like a $30 million receiver cannot be good because you're paying your quarterback, and then you got to play all your defense, and you got to pay your second team. And that's what New England used to do with Brady. That's why they never had receivers or running backs. It was Brady, we'll give you guys that can maybe catch, and then we're just going to keep decent price defensive play. That's why I like Richard Seymour a lot because he was a star and he should have made $10 million, and they don't want to pay because they want to have first and second stringers that are pretty good. So New England kind of figured out the salary cap, but that's what most teams don't do. So if you have – what are they going to do with Cousins and Jefferson? Minnesota will not have a defense, and as soon as they get injuries, they're screwed because they won't be able to do anything. So Minnesota makes the miracle, so that's win number one. We didn't play Seattle under, but we gave it out, so we'll just take that as credit, but didn't play. Cleveland, Baltimore, I take the dog. I actually won it on one 10-team teaser with one of my guys. He actually got us a 10 and a half. I don't know where. Maybe he played a 7-point teaser, but so that was the only time I won it was in that. Otherwise, I lost it in my bets, getting 9. I was pretty frustrated when I looked at the film, and it was like Tucker misses a field goal. Tucker gets a field goal blocked. They get the ball at the 5. There's an interception. They get 4th down. Again, this idiot goes for it. And he doesn't understand when you start coaching to, well, if we don't get it, we'll pin them deep. Okay, this isn't college. And you need points. 13-3, you needed points. Kick your field goals, and then maybe you can win more games. But you can't sit there at 13-3 and just let it go and not do anything. So this is the problem with these idiots that think, well, it's 4th and goal at the 2, I'll go for it, and I'll leave them at the 2 like that's a good thing. So I'm not understanding that logic at all. I watched Bo lose to Ohio State in the 70s several times by 4th and goal at the 1, and they weren't smart enough to run play action pass. And they'd run it and they wouldn't get it, and they'd run it and wouldn't get it, and bang the guy with the hammer 15 times. Let's run it and don't get it. And so as we saw, they wouldn't get it, and that's what happened. So they ended up losing, and then they'd lose by 2 points, and they had the ball at the goal line twice and didn't kick field goals. And that's really the problem. So kick your field goal. So Baltimore, I lose. That's the only loser. I have 9, and there's nothing I can do. Now, the purpose of the bet was Cleveland doesn't really have a good defense, and I knew Huntley was the quarterback, and I wasn't really that concerned. They were running the ball down their throats the whole time with Gus Edwards and Ohio State guy, and they just couldn't get in. They never were able to punch it in. So very terrible coaching. Cleveland didn't stop them once. I mean, I don't think they punted. The only stop was a blocked field goal and downs and an interception, and then he missed one field goal. So getting 9, I should have won this game easily. Baltimore needed the game, and going to the needed the games, Baltimore needed it. Now they're a game behind Cincinnati, so it just doesn't make sense. Miami, Buffalo, we got Buffalo as the free pick. You're welcome. The free picks for Buffalo, and then the other free pick was Fresno State, Washington State under 58, 29-6. So both the free picks for you guys win, and I'm happy for that. I get more excited when the free picks win because I know you guys bet the free picks, or you should, and they win, most of the time. Buffalo happened to be a lock. So I'm laying 1. They win 32-29. I've got it bet pretty big in several teasers. I know Miami's not going to win in Buffalo. Now, they played very well. They put up 29, which I was a little surprised with Buffalo's defense, but Miami's got a weak defense. So I knew Buffalo would have no problem scoring. Now, here's where Josh Allen makes his medal. Okay, he let them, and they came back and won the game. So I give Josh Allen credit. They were down 29-21. I'm not sure why they were down 29-21. Not sure why they gave up 29. So I question Buffalo defense, but I know they lost Miller, the linebacker. So that's going to hurt them, as it's pretty obvious here. But a good game. It shows me Miami is probably a live over team, putting up 29 on Buffalo. But again, a team without a defense you can't bet on. That's why I didn't bet Miami. That's why I bet Buffalo. They have the better defense, but they do have the injuries. New Orleans, Atlanta, I play the game over. It's only 42, so it's 36, 37. They end up with the 39, 21-18. But these teams, it took Desmond Ridder on Atlanta, the new quarterback from Cincinnati. Took him a while, but he got going. New Orleans with Dalton and Kamara. As long as Kamara's playing, they're good. Laying 4.5. Neither team's got a good defense. I couldn't trust the teams to win. But I like the over, which came in. So now we got to play against Atlanta. Is 12-1 this year, 27-3. Play against Atlanta. New Orleans play against is now 13-1. So you got two bad teams. Just bet against them, you win. And they happen to be playing each other. So again, that's another reason I go over. I go over when I can't pick a winner, and I am pretty sure they're going to be not great defenses, pretty good scoring. So that's what we got. Detroit and the Jets. This line kept moving from Jets -1, Detroit -1. When Detroit -1, I took the Jets in 7. The Jets ended up -1 at game time. That's why you make your bet on the line, right? So when the line moves to what you want, we wanted the Jets at home as a home dog. So when we got it, we bet it. So that's the nature of the beast. The line moves like the stock market. So if I get a stock at 39 and it goes to 41, well, when I saw my mark, I bought it. Gold stocks, I tend to wait for them to drop. When they drop and start moving up, so when I buy them, I don't care what the price is. And then as it goes up, that's when I sell it. So you're kind of doing it here. You're watching the line. And I was surprised Detroit was favored in the game at first. Then it went Jets. 2017 it played out exactly as I thought. Knew the Jets would score and keep it close. I preferred them. They should have won the game. Although I was shocked to see 4 or 5 Dave Casper plays over the weekend. I was very happy. Obviously, somebody smart is listening to my videos. The Lions won on a 4th and 1 Dave Casper play. They faked it into the line. The tight end pretended he was blocking and went across, which is what Casper did. He pretended he blocked on a running play. They wouldn't pay attention to him. They'd pay attention to the quarterback and the running back. He could just slip behind, and that's what the tight end did. He just slipped behind, and then he was wide open, and he happened to go all the way for a touchdown, which was surprising. But there's no way you would keep an eye on it if I'm the Jets, because the Lions don't run that play, and it's kind of a cross action. And the way these defenses are, it seems like all you got to do is run crossing patterns, and they're all zones, and nobody knows what to look for. Nobody picks up. Again, so many injuries, there's no communication. So that's what happened there. So, but I had the Jets in 7. They lose by 3. Another winner, another easy winner. That was a playoff game. There's no way Detroit is going to go on the road and as a road favorite blow out anybody. right? They aren't going to blow out Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue, nobody. So watching that, see, everybody gets hypnotized and they're watching the Lions roll up Jacksonville, which is looking more and more positive when Jacksonville beats Dallas and beat Baltimore. So, very good win for the Lions. Looking at Jacksonville as not being that bad, even though Trevor Lawrence sucks. So, good win for Detroit. They still they're kind of in the playoff run. Apparently, though, it's going to come down to the Detroit-Green Bay game, and Green Bay is going to beat them because that's what Green Bay does. They're starting to play well in Aaron Rodgers, but that's what it's going to come down to, and Green Bay will beat them because Green Bay always beats them in Green Bay. So we'll get to that later. KC Houston, I keep you away from that. I circle the over. I don't play it. I can't trust Houston to score. Game goes to freaking overtime, 30-24 KC. Again, KC laying 14. I keep you away from that. You cannot lay 14. Nobody here is good enough to lay 14. The league is not equity, or what do they call it, parity. The league sucks. The league has very few good teams, and so even the bad teams are playing third stringers because of all the injuries. So it's not like, so there really isn't a Z team based on my method. Even the W team was what? Indiana, Houston, Pittsburgh, who's much better, Arizona, and the Rams. Those are like your worst teams, but yet they're still not terrible. And it just shows you Indy plays Midi close. Houston plays KC close. Pitt beats Carolina. Arizona loses to Denver without the quarterback. And then the Rams get beat pretty good by Green Bay. Should have won by a lot more. They bad coaching decisions, bad play calls. But with that said, I got to be careful with my foot. I got to put it up. I can't have it down too much. The blood runs down to it. Even though I'm better able to walk, I'm still not better able. I don't want my foot down. Like, I'm still on the couch a lot. So I got a chair where my foot's a little bit, because I can feel the blood rushing down. So the circulation's obviously a problem. I know after the show on Wednesday or Thursday, it started really hurting. So it's funny how it goes through phases. Tuesday hurt a little. I could walk, work out. Wednesday, I could walk with a limp, but not as much pain. And then the pain came Thursday. It's just the circulation. So I don't understand why it takes, it just doesn't go away by Sunday. It's really strange. Anyway, so I don't want to have my foot up too much. So with that said, so again, KC, Houston's a W team with Davis Mills. And what I'm seeing is the same offense by every team, basically. They spread it out. The quarterback runs. They hit the little back out of the backfield. They all run the old Michigan play where they play action in one way, the quarterback and tight end rolls this way, the tight end's wide open because the defenses are horrible. And it's the same. It doesn't. You don't even know what team it is. It's the same bullshit on each team, making a Fields or a Lawrence or Tagovailoa look a lot better than they are when they're just hitting these little dink passes, and the quarterback runs till they get hurt. So Houston's able to score some points. KC's got a weak defense. Again, that's why they didn't pay Hill, because you can't afford to pay Mahomes and then pay Hill $30 million, and you don't have any money left for the defense, which you need. You can't just be – then you're Miami, right? A good offense with no defense. So KC struggles defensively against Houston, of all teams. We've seen Houston get buried. We've seen them win at Jacksonville. So, again, these are pros. The defense is okay. And the offense with Mills sucks, but the play calling of these little dinks and dunks and him running get you some points. So I don't play the game. I'm not going to lay 14 in the NFL. And I don't trust Houston in 20. I mean, the play should have been Houston in 20, but I can't trust Houston in 20, so I don't play it. And I don't play the over because I can't trust Houston to score enough. So I just let that game go. Philly Chicago was lock number 2. Philly was laying 8.5s and 9s. I caught an 8.5. So I locked it laying 2.5. And they made me sweat, which I was debating about going over or going Philly because I know Chicago's an over now with Fields. He runs all over, terrible quarterback, but now he's just running. And so he runs, and they made me sweat it. It was 17-6. I go, okay, good. Now I can give up a touchdown. Then I gave up a touchdown. Then I got another touchdown. So it's 25-13. I go, okay, good. There's a few minutes left. And the Bears go down the field in like 2 minutes and make it 25-20. Now I'm freaking out because now a touchdown beats me. And then Philly runs the clock out, and I had to wait for an onside kick. So I got the W there, big lock. Philly, as we know, is 12-1 this year in a teaser. They needed the game, keep the number 1 seed. They have the much better defense. The Bears have no defense. So I know Philly's going to score a lot, but I think Philly's defense is going to stop Chicago, which it really did. And 25-20. So all we're needing is 2.5, 3 points. We get the win. So the lock wins. Buffalo, Philly, they were both close, but they win, and that's all we care about. That was my biggest bet. And in both teasers, I got Buffalo with Philly, Buffalo with the Jets. I got Philly with Buffalo, and I got Philly with Cincinnati. Love Cincinnati. Almost made them a lock, but had they been a dog, they'd have been a lock. Then we come to Pitt, Carolina. I like the dog in the game. Carolina laying 2.5. I like Pitt getting 8.5. But Trubisky's the quarterback, so I don't even play the game, but I like Pitt. Carolina needs it to stay with Tampa Bay, but as I said, you can't trust a team that's only won 5 games. You don't bet on 5-8 teams very often, so I let it go. I don't even know what the quarterback situation is at Pitt, so I just lay away from that, and Pitt wins. But I laid away from Carolina, which was a good layaway. Hey, Todd. I took Green Bay, teased the under last night. I still have 2 tickets in play. Is Minshew starting for Philly? We don't know yet. Looking at the injury, Hurts is not out. He banged up his shoulder. It's a sprained shoulder. Fields has a sprained shoulder, and he's playing. I think it's his throwing shoulder. If he takes the needle, he'll probably play. So I don't know that he's not playing, but I don't know yet. We got to wait. The game's on. What they're really weird this week, they're playing all these Saturday games because of Christmas, but then there's still a few Sunday games. I've never seen it. Normally the NFL plays on Christmas Day, but I think with these basketball crap on Christmas Day, the NFL is actually not playing Christmas Day for basketball. I've never seen that in my life. Normally it's NFL rules, but Christmas Day is usually not a Sunday. But when it is, you can see the Bulls don't play against the pros. So Sunday they don't play. And so we got a whole lot of Saturday action, which kind of hurts, but I'm not sure that I wouldn't bet against Hurts being out until you see him out. So hold off on that bet. I'll find you much better ones anyway. So let's go. We got Dallas, Jacksonville. I love the over in the game because Dallas with Prescott, he's going to throw his interceptions, which he threw his pick 6, and they're going to score. They've become a passing team, which hurts the defense. So they're not this killer defense they used to be. As you see Jacksonville score 40 and win 40-34. I'm over 47 down to 41. That was an easy over, but I laid away from Dallas. I thought about Dallas in 1.5 at first. My line was Dallas minus 14 because Jacksonville just got killed by the Lions. And then they beat Buffalo at home or Baltimore at home. 4.5, I'm tempted to take 1.5. They should have won. And then here comes Prescott, throws a pick six in overtime to lose it. He throws way too many interceptions. He's a liability. You cannot bet on Prescott. He's not a good quarterback. He can't read. He throws too many turnovers, tries to make too many plays that he shouldn't. They're much better with Cooper Rush. With Cooper Rush, Dallas probably goes to the Super Bowl. With Prescott, they'll lose the first round of the playoffs. You can't have a quarterback turning the ball over. Hey, Todd. Thank goodness I didn't bet the Dallas game. Well, I hope I talked you into the over. I think I gave you the over, didn't I? But anyway, that's, you can't see again. Now, Dallas should have a good defense, but with Prescott, you can't trust Prescott. So we can't play that game. And we got to go with you got to go over with it. And Jacksonville's been scoring, although it was like 24-7. And the next thing you know, it's 24-10, 24-17, 24-all, 30. It was like the strangest game because Dallas is totally dominating. And then Prescott starts throwing interceptions. And next thing you know, Jacksonville is winning. And you're like, what the hell? Because Jacksonville's not very good. All Lawrence does throw the little throws to the backs, and he runs, and it's again the stupidest offense. And how anybody doesn't cover the receiver. See, they're all playing the zone because of these running quarterbacks, and they're not picking up these running backs because the receivers drive them back. It's like Joe Montana. Bill Walsh used to drive you out. Like there was a touchdown that he ran in one of the Super Bowls where the two wide receivers run post patterns. And they both go up and they both go out. And then the running back play action pass, and then he slides out the back door. And the defense all went with the receivers. He comes out late. He's wide open. And that play will work every time. And that's what you see a lot of when you see these receivers doing these crossing patterns. They cross, there they go, and they're all set. So a lot of that, although I was amazed. I saw at least 5 different Dave Casper plays. So I was very proud they're starting to listen to the professor. Those plays always work. All the guys are wide open. Play action is the only thing you can do on these 4th downs and 3rd and 1s because everybody has to respect the runner. They all jump up. I'm so tired of watching these guys on 4th and 1. Now the next stupidest thing is they give the ball to the fullback. Who do they think they're fooling? These guys aren't smart enough. They're just playing the gaps. There's no fake. They're not going with anybody, so they're not going to be fooled by the fullback getting the ball. And I've yet to see the fullback getting the ball work. And then the stupid, let's go injure our quarterback. That's how Hurts got hurt on these little quarterback sneaks where they're pushing him in. Better you put your running back in and let him get the ball and push him in and get the quarterback out of the way. How many quarterbacks do you want to get injured before you realize you don't have a backup and he's probably going to get hurt in a stack of big linemen? I mean, it's just these coaches are by far the stupidest coaches I've ever seen in football since 1965. They're just absolutely morons. Defensive coaches are terrible. The head coaches are worse. Too many 4th downs. It's just pathetic. Coaching. Arizona, Denver, who cares? I like the under. It goes to 36.5, 42. It's a little low. Maybe a 40. I would have played it. I can't trust Denver, and I can't trust Arizona with Colt McCoy, so I don't play the game. And Denver somehow scores 24 without Russell Wilson, with whatchamacallit, what's his name? Rippon. So with Rippon, they score some points. 24-15. Denver, just an under team. Arizona, without Kyler Murray, who the hell knows who they are. Oakland, New England. Oakland laying 1.5. I take New England and 7.5. Again, Oakland is just a terrible team. It's a bet against team, no defense. New England's up 24-17. Late in the game, I got 7.5. It's a winner. Oakland quickly ties it, and then I see a score 30-24. How do they score that quickly? I mean, because New England's got the ball. Or did he throw a pick six? And where's the 31? And I keep checking. No, I got 7.5. I got 7.5. Then I see the play, and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Oh, Bill Belichick's the greatest coach since sliced bread. Really? With that play, he's not the greatest coach that ever played. What the fuck are they doing? I think they were running Comanche from Any Given Sunday, where Jamie Foxx keeps the ball with 10 seconds left, runs down the sideline, and then runs an Oklahoma wishbone option where as soon as he pitches it out, LL Cool J, who then keeps running and then goes out of bounds. That's what I believe the play they were running, because Stevenson runs down, he gets down to like the 35 or 40. Then I think he pitches it to the guy who's supposed to keep running with it, but the guy gets confused. So this guy should be off your team. And he throws it back as if it's the lateral play, Stanford Cal, which only works on a kickoff return because you need 9 option quarterbacks out there. And he pitches it back for something. What are you doing? First of all, the game's tied. Secondly, there's no time. Who are you pitching it to? That's not a design play. You're pitching it back to Mac Jones. What's he going to do with the ball? You certainly can't throw it. You got linemen downfield blocking for this guy. What are you doing, man? What is your thought process? I'm going to pitch it back 20 yards to the quarterback to do what? Now he's going to go for a touchdown. You're already at the 40. You're supposed to keep the ball, but because there's no time remaining, there's nothing you can do. Just get tackled. And I think that was the object of the play, was to do a Comanche and get out of bounds, but there was no time. So it was really just like there was the Miami-San Diego 81 playoff game where San Diego's up 24-0 and Miami ties the game at half on a hook and ladder. So they throw it to the receiver, catches the ball, and then the running back's coming underneath. It was a beautiful play, and he laterals it to the running back coming underneath, and he scores. And I think that was the idea of the play, was the hook and ladder. But that wasn't what it looked like. It was a clear option, and the receiver who gets the ball is supposed to run with it until he gets tackled, and let's go to overtime. So it was this is why you take knees, or this is why you throw Hail Marys. You cannot have ignorance on the team. Bill Belichick, the greatest coach, there's another example of how he kind of sucks. Terry McCarty. Hey, Terry. So I thought one of the stupidest plays I've ever seen. That looks like a Patricia play coming from the Lions. Surprised you didn't use it on the Lions. But this is the problem with terrible offensive coordinators, terrible coaching, what this play was even doing out there. And to lose a game, you fucking lost a playoff game. Now you got Oakland chasing you now. Here's another loss. You got the Jets now tied with you. The Jets gave you a loss and you didn't take advantage. So, yeah, I can see New England doing a lot in the playoffs. There's too many playoff teams, and this really sucks. There's still so many teams in the playoff, like the Lions at 5-8 or 6-8 now. What the fuck are they doing in the playoff running when there's, it's such bad teams that they've made 6-8 a playoff team, or 7-7. So now they can go 10-7. That's the first problem. There's too many games. So you're delaying the inevitable. Too many injuries. So you're getting really bad teams with these playoff runs. Look at Green Bay. They're 6-8, and if they run out, they'll be 9-8. Like, really, this is what we want in the playoffs. Teams that are 5-8 and win the last few games. So there's 3 left for Green Bay. I don't know, but it's really pathetic. The league is getting worse and worse. All right, so we don't know what happened there. Oakland gets a gift win, so Nick doesn't throw up as he does so many times when Oakland lets him down. Hopefully Nick had New England in the 7.5. San Diego leaned the 3 to Tennessee. I love Tennessee in 9. We know what San Diego is. Play against 25-5, now 26-5. Play against, as a home favorite, 12-1. Play against them overall, 12-1. San Diego is a bet against team unless they're a dog. Then you play them as a dog. Here I got them lane 3. It took all of 5 seconds to go. San Diego's favorite. We're taking Tennessee, a playoff team, a good team. Everybody's bitching. See, when I hear these idiot analysts on radio, TV, oh, Tennessee's got this bad defense, da 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 da. They know it's not that bad. It depends on who they're playing. And, did you play Kansas City and Buffalo? Yeah, I think they did play Buffalo, didn't they? And I think they played Green Bay. So, yeah, their pass defense is going to look bad when you're playing the superstars. But not against San Diego, who always plays close games. And here we go again, 17-14. We win with Tennessee in 9. I'm not surprised. They were never out of it. I was winning the whole entire game because it never got more than a 7-point, and I'm getting 9. And it's just the way San Diego plays close games. Tennessee, I don't care. They're a strong defensive team, points-wise. I don't care if they give up yards. They don't give up a lot of points, which is what we're looking at. And Henry was Henry. So we get it 17-14 and another winner. Cincinnati, Tampa took me about 1 second to just take Cincinnati. Lane 3.5, I get 2.5. Over under 43, I thought about for a minute. But Cincinnati's got a pretty good defense. And what a strange game, 17-3 at the half. Tampa, I have not seen look like that all year. And then a fake punt that I don't even know it was a fake punt. He just hiked it to the guy who wasn't expecting it. Why would you fake punt? This is the problem. Why are you fake punting with the 17-3 lead? After the fake punt doesn't work and Al Burrow starts going to town, touchdown. The game's tied at 17. I got 2.5. They go up. They blow them out, and it ends up 34-23. Cincinnati shows you who's boss. Big win, beating Brady, winning at Tampa, especially the way they looked in the first half. This is a team. This is the best team right here, Cincinnati. I got a feeling it'll be a Cincinnati-Frisco Super Bowl. They've already done it twice, and they should have done it 3 times. They should have done it last year. But this is clearly the best team in the AFC. They've already beat KC. They get Buffalo next week or the week after for the 1 seed. Buffalo showed how they struggled against Miami. What are they going to do against Cincinnati? It's going to get ugly. So we hit Cincinnati, and that's it. We avoid the Giants-Washington game. Giants end up winning 20-12. Strangest game. Washington doesn't, they score the tying touchdown. They're going to go for 2 with 10 seconds left in the game, and the idiot isn't on the line of scrimmage. You're a professional wide receiver. I knew that in high school, junior high. You got to get on the line of scrimmage. So what kind of receivers do you have playing for you at Washington? The guy doesn't know to be on the line of scrimmage, really. So they get called too many men, not enough men or too many men on the backfield, and then they lose the touchdown. They lose the game. Totally outcoached by the Giants, which is amazing. Barkley, the one guy you'd key on, they didn't key on. He would just go up the middle all day. Where was Washington's defense? Heineke shows how bad he is. I was thinking about playing the game under 40 to 46, knowing the Giants really are a defensive team. Washington is really a defensive team. That's what these teams really are. And but I ignore that. I like the other games. And then yesterday, Green Bay and the Rams. I like Green Bay. I don't play it. All of a sudden, Baker Mayfield's on the Rams, but he looked like Baker Mayfield again. And Rodgers is starting to play like Rodgers. They pissed everybody off at the end, except for me, where they didn't go. They had the ball at the 1 yard line with 2 minutes left, and the 24 12 36. The over under on the game's 39. Now, I question betting the over in a Ram game without Stafford. Kind of not a real bright thing. But I guess these people go over loving Rodgers, but he fucks you over every time like this. And 36, they don't get to the 39. I don't care. I don't got the game back. It's hard to trust Green Bay to win, although Green Bay is much better as a home favorite. You're really trying to see Baker Mayfield, like what's going on in the Rams, who won so good. So Professor goes 10-1. The only loser should have been a winner was Baltimore. Getting 9 points. I mean, all they needed was one field goal, and all of a sudden fucking Tucker misses one and gets one blocked. Are you serious? And they got the ball. If you watch the highlights, they're inside the Cleveland 30 the whole fucking game. Interception, go for it on fourth down. I mean, it's just amazing. Get your points. You should have easily won this game. Now Cincinnati's ahead of them, and they'll be in the playoffs, but they look like shit. All right, so let's look ahead. I've been digesting the injuries. I'm a little confused. On scores and odds, they're calling a lot of the Jacksonville Jets with COVID. And I'm thinking, then I go to covers for injuries, and I don't see the COVID. I don't know if there's COVID or not. I go, shit, we're back to COVID again? We haven't had that all year. I think that's what they're doing with the illness. It's COVID, but they're not calling it that. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the Jacksonville Jet game. But at this point, I'm not really checking the injuries yet. Today being Tuesday, I'm just taking a first blush. So Jacksonville, okay, so I'll give you my line. Jacksonville and the Jets -3. Jacksonville is an even team with an over defense. They're giving up a lot of points. Detroit, Dallas, so they don't. But the Jets with a beautiful defense and under. If everybody's injured, is another story with this COVID, but I don't know. So I like the game under 39.5. It's the way the Jets play. And now they made Jacksonville a 1.5 point favorite. I like the Jets and the points because a good defensive team will do the same thing. They'll stop. Look at the Lions, right? They're lighting them up. They hold the Lions to 20 points and they stop them at the goal line. I had to laugh. Troy has the ball 4th and 1-1. First drive of the game. They're just marching right down the field. What do? Go for it. Of course, what happens? They don't get it. They're stopped behind the line on a stupid running play. And I just have to laugh. I go, here's the Lions again. Kick your field goal, which you're going to need, which they did. They get lucky. They hold the Jets. And then the guy runs the punt back. Well, that's not your offense. And the offense never drove down the field like that the rest of the game. Just the first possession. And they get stopped. I loved it. So now you got Jacksonville as their favorite. Again, this is chess. You cannot look at them beating Dallas and Baltimore at home or at Detroit getting killed. Those are all other games that have already been played. And Jacksonville is not at home this week. They're at New York in the cold fucking weather. It's going to be, Christmas Eve, I think. So their minds are elsewhere. They're laying 1.5. Why? They're not the better team here. The Jets are the better team. This is a playoff game. They both need it for the playoffs. The Jets are in. Jacksonville's trying to get in. So all the incentive on both teams. Etonen is the running back's out. Lawrence is injured, but like hurts. And the Jets, we don't care. Zach Wilson, I don't know what happened to that dude. He was making some passes that the backup in Michigan wouldn't make. I mean, they were horrible. What the fuck? You're a professional quarterback. What are you doing? So he doesn't really. He's lost. Bad coaching there. Bad quarterback. Bad play calling. Where's his little Trevor Lawrence plays, rolling and hitting the tight end and dumping it to the running back? He did make some good plays. They do have some good receivers. I was watching. I don't get to see a lot of Jets games because I see the highlights, but now the highlights are like the third down plays. So I can't really see them. So this is good to actually like watch the Buffalo game, the full game, and watch this game to get a better feel of them in Miami. So the Jets are a very strong play here. As a home dog, Jacksonville as a road favorite is horrible. I just don't see this. I don't understand Jacksonville being favored here. Again, in this scenario, just looking at it, Jacksonville, where are they a road favorite against whom? Maybe Houston, and they lost that game. They lost the game to Houston at home. They are not a good favorite. They have done well as the dog, like they did against Dallas. You put them as the favorite, they're not good. I like the Jets here. Now I got to check injuries, but I got to see what's right and wrong. Is the whole team out with COVID or what the fuck's going on? Tennessee 7 over Houston. I got Tennessee -4. Tennessee's -7, 39.5 again with the over-under. I don't know. Tennessee's a strong under team. See, here's how I would do it. If Tennessee was playing the Jets, it would be a lock under 39.5 because both are very strong defensive teams. In this case, Houston is a weak team with a weak defense. So Tennessee should score. Tannehill got hurt, but he played the end of the game. I assume he plays, and then you got Henry. Houston, I don't know, with Bills, they're scoring a little bit. I probably like the under, but again, now this is a playoff game for Tennessee, not Houston. So Tennessee needs the game. So I don't know right now. I kind of been leaning a little towards Tennessee -1, but again, I don't love Tennessee to win, but I don't know who Houston is. This should be a good Tennessee game because Houston's defense sucks. So Tennessee should be able to drive on them. The Giants, Minnesota -3 is my line, 47.5. The real line, 3.5. So finally a line that is what it should be. Minnesota, Jefferson's a little banged up. I'm sure he'll play. Giants with the strong defense. Minnesota with the strong offense and the weak defense. So can the Giants score enough against Minnesota? What the fuck did Indy do against Minnesota? I mean, you just scratch your head. Taylor goes out with a broken ankle the first series of the game, and they still light up Minnesota. I'm talking Indianapolis. So, with case in point here, it's a playoff game. Both teams need it now. Where the edge goes is Minnesota has won their division now. They've locked it up, which was why we bet Minnesota in the first place last week. So now they're locked up. So the edge kind of goes to the Giants. Minnesota is going to win the division. They're in the playoffs. The Giants need it. I like the Giants in the 9.5. They got the momentum. To score 20 on that Washington defense is impressive. Jones is doing okay throwing the ball. He still sucks. And then Barkley, he's always been good. Their defense is very strong. Should give Minnie some problems. I think 9.5 is a good play with the Giants. 47.5 seems like a lot in a Giant game. In a mini game, it's not a lot, but this is where you must look at both teams. This is Dallas, Minnesota. This is an over. Although did they go over when they played? Green Bay, Minnesota, this would now be an over. Teams with good quarterbacks who are going to score is an over. Like Buffalo mini was an over. But against the Giants with this good defense, they play a low-scoring game. It's not a good over to go over 41.5, even though it seems reasonable with Minnesota. We'll have to rethink this. But right now, I like the Giants as the dog. New Orleans and Cleveland. Actually, a playoff game for both teams. How the fuck can this be a playoff game? New Orleans can still catch Tampa. Cleveland is apparently can now catch what, because of New England fucking around with 7 wins. They're already at 5 or 6, and with the 3 games left, they can still make it. This is the problem. This is fucked. This team sucks. They're what, 5-9, or whatever they are, 6-8, and they're still, if they win out in the playoffs, Jesus Christ. This is just the problem. There's too many weak teams in the league, and without the dominant teams, all the weak teams hang around. So it's really, I can't trust either of these teams as far as I can throw them. As far as it's a playoff game, I got Cleveland -3. The spread's Cleveland -3. Over under 34.5. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't get that. Neither team are strong defensively or under teams. Cleveland was an over team. Now they played Pitt 13-3. Deshaun Watson's terrible right now. He really shouldn't even be in there. I don't know why he's in there. Brissett's much better at this point. So to play Watson, I don't know. New Orleans, strong dog in this game. I like New Orleans in the 9, but I don't understand this over under 34.5. Kind of avoid that. New Orleans, pretty good dog. Cleveland, I don't know. Are they going to win by 10 again? Are they going to get that lucky, blocking 2 field goals, missed field goals, going forward on 4th down? The difference here is you got Taysom Hill and Kamara. Good luck stopping Kamara on a 4th and 1. Buffalo, I got 10 over Chicago. Buffalo's -8. Buffalo is one of the few 8 teams in the league. Chicago's an over team with Fields. No defense, good over. How they held Philly to 25, and it was really like 10-6 at half, I have no idea. Well, Hurts threw a few interceptions, being Hurts. Here, Buffalo -8. I love Buffalo -2. I love the over in the game even more at 40. What? Okay, this is where I tell you Caesars doesn't quite get it. This line, how in the world is they've not shut? Miami puts up 30. This is not the shutdown defense that their staff would say. And the Bears, all they do is score with Fields, and their defense sucks. Allen's going to light them up. So you've got this 40, which cannot be right here, 40. And then we can tease it to 34. You don't think at halftime this score is 20-14, it's 34? Really? Buffalo's going to go up and down the field scoring on this Bear defense. And Fields apparently has no problem running around. He can pass a little bit. They run Montgomery. I don't see how they don't score 20 on this Buffalo team. So you got a 50-point game and a 34-point over. Oh, I love this one. Buffalo over all fucking day. Now, I like Buffalo -2, but I like the over better because Chicago with Fields scores a lot and has no defense. So they're the perfect over team. And the way Buffalo's defense is playing, they're not an under defense anymore. So I don't know if they're still an A. They're probably more of an over team. They score 30, they give up 27, 30. Look at Minnesota. Look at Miami. I mean, Miami should never have scored 27 or 29 on them in Buffalo in the cold weather. Not a problem. And weather won't be a problem because it's in Chicago, so they're not going to be bothered by it. Seattle, KC. I got Seattle -6. The spread's 9.5. Seems a bit high. Seattle, an over team. KC's a B team, but they're an over team, but we'll give them a B team, meaning they score a lot. Their defense is fairly well, but lately it's been an over. They have trouble with fucking Houston. Now here's a more normal over for what I would expect, 49.5. This is what I would have expected the Buffalo-Chicago one to be. This is where Vegas hasn't caught up to Fields and his offense. They're looking at the whole year. Well, here, Seattle KCs, this is like the whole year going, 49. I love the game over. I don't know who's going to stop who in the game. 43, 24-20. Another halftime score. KC is going to be explosive. And Seattle, we know, is explosive. So, again, we just got to check the injuries. This looks like a beautiful over. Seattle is 10-2 as a road dog, so keep that in mind. Some notes on Chicago Buffalo before I leave it. Chicago 23-3 at home, 14-2 as a home dog, 14-2 bet against as a home dog. And Buffalo is not the strongest road favorite. So Chicago plays very well. So Chicago on 14 is probably a good play here, which means it'll be high scoring, which makes the over even better. Cincinnati, I got Cincinnati, New England -6. They're the A team, and New England's the under team, apparently with no brains. Real spread 3.5. Why is Cincinnati not 7-point favorites here? I love Cincinnati minus getting 2.5 again. You just went to Tampa, who's a whole lot better with Brady and looking fucking good, and a lot of their defense is back. Better than New England with Mac Jones, and the defense is suspect. I mean, they just played – what did New England – they gave 24-24 to Oakland. Forgive the last 6. So they give up 24 to Oakland. You're going to shut down Cincinnati? Come on, man. Only another 40-point – I mean, what is Vegas doing? Another 40-point over. Another joke. 34 with Joe Burrow all day. He put up 34 on Tampa by himself. I mean, New England's not going to – this is not 17-10. This is probably going to be 30-7 Cincinnati. So I love Cincinnati, and I love the over in the game. This is crazy. Nick, I'm finding the games, Nick. Nick goes to me, I can't find anything in the pros because I was going to play Philly over, but Hurts is there. Okay, Nick, I found you about 6 games so far. We're only half done. All right, Detroit, Carolina. Detroit -3, 44.5. Again, I like Carolina. How does Detroit be a road favorite? Carolina's not bad. They're still in the playoff hunt, but they're a bad playoff hunt. Lose to Pitt as the favorite. This is where it gets all psychological on us. Carolina as a home favorite loses to Pitt, but now you make them a home dog. As a home dog, they beat Tampa, and I think they beat New Orleans or Atlanta. They're a very good home dog, a very bad home favorite, much like Arizona, much like several other teams. So you have them here as a home dog to Detroit. Not a good road favorite. Took all they can against the Jets, and it's a similar strong defensive team. You know, maybe I'm not a Darnell fan. He sucks. But, okay. But Detroit doesn't have a defense to really stop Carolina. So Carolina, I look for them to score more. Over under 44.5, I think goes over 38. It's very similar to the Jets, but Carolina has not a better quarterback. I think Wilson and Darnell are both crap. But, okay. But, again, it's a playoff game. You know, Detroit got lucky to win at the Jets. Now they got to go to Carolina, and they're a pretty good home team. So we'll see, but it's a playoff game. And in a playoff game, I love the home dog. So here I like Carolina 9, maybe over 38. I like Carolina a little bit better than that. Again, Detroit's not going to blow you out on the road as a favorite. It doesn't work that way. It's very difficult for a road favorite to blow out on the road, unless it's USC or Georgia or a team like that. And Detroit could not beat Georgia. There's no way. Baltimore, Atlanta. I got Baltimore laying 3, and I got Atlanta as an even team, mid-20 teams like they did against New Orleans. Baltimore, I got as an under team. I don't know. I think Lamar Jackson's out with Huntley, who's struggling to move the team. They're an under team, although their defense looked good. Their offense sucked last week. It actually didn't suck. They just didn't finish. Let's give that to the coach, not being a good offensive coordinator. So I got Baltimore -3. The real spread's -7. Leads me right to Atlanta in 13. It's a playoff game because Atlanta apparently can still catch Tampa Bay. They keep losing. So Tampa Bay should be up 3-4 games, or like a one game lead over Atlanta, Carolina, and New Orleans. And so we got Baltimore. I don't know why is Baltimore -7. So I like the dog in this game. Atlanta in 13 in a playoff game. Washington and the Niners. The Niners. I have Niners -7. They're the A team. Washington's the under team. And the line's 2.5, or no, wait. No, I think the line is 7.5. I thought it was 2.5, but no, just the way my line ended hit the X. So yeah, it's 7.5. It's what I thought. Both teams, strong defense. Over under 39.5. Now, what's the difference between this 39.5, the Jacksonville Jets 39.5, the Buffalo Chicago 40? Are you what the fuck? 39.5, and in this game, it's so much different than the Jacksonville Jet, or let's say the Houston Tennessee. You got two strong defenses, not one. Brock Purdy, I like him. He's good. I think Frisco gets the win. Washington needs it. It's a playoff game. I love the under here, 45.5. Now, there's the difference. I got two strong defenses. This score is not going very high, but I have that. With Jacksonville and the Jets, I don't have a strong defense with Jacksonville. And Houston, Tennessee, I don't have a strong defense with Houston. So it's a whole different commodity where I got two strong defensive teams in a 39.5. Versus like a Jacksonville Jet game where they don't have a good defense. The Jets could score on it. They put up 17 on the Lions, who doesn't have a good defense either. So look for the Jets to score in the 20s, which makes it much more. I wouldn't be surprised at 9. But in this game, I love the Washington Frisco under 45.5 with these defenses. Where are you going to get your points from? And I doubt Washington scores a lot. Not against this. Hey, Todd. I will need our pro picks soon. I will be placing 2 tickets tomorrow before we get hit. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just need to look at the injuries. What happened? Skype. Why is Skype popping up? Sorry about that. Yeah, Todd, just going to need to check some injuries. Maybe is tomorrow okay? Tomorrow's Wednesday. Just to give us a little bit edge on the injuries and stuff like that. So we have, where am I? So Washington, Frisco, love the under. Philadelphia, Dallas. Dallas -1.5. Okay. It's Professor. You don't have to call me sir. So Philly, Dallas -1.5. I got Philly -3. Nick says, wait, Hurts is out. I check. He's not out. He's got a hurt shoulder, questionable. So now this game Saturday, we lose a day. So the spread I got now is Dallas 1.5, over under 51.5. Now there's two ways to play this game. Now, first thing so Philly's the A team. Great offense, great team, best team. Dallas is now an over team. They went from an under team with Cooper Rush to an over team with Prescott because he throws all these interceptions. Unbelievable. So we have that. It's a playoff game, although Philly, I don't know, maybe, yeah, they haven't clinched their division yet, but this would clinch it. Obviously beating Dallas and probably be close to clinching the 1 seed. So it's a very important game for Philly. I would think Hurts is going to play, my own opinion. I think he takes the shot and he plays and he grins and bears it. No, he's an Alabama guy. He's going to probably play. Bengals strong. Yeah, Bengals, hell yes. Put the Bengals with this over. Well, put them with this Washington Frisco under. And then the Buffalo Chicago over. Those three are very, very strong plays. Caesars has Dallas favored by 5.5 as enough. Okay, so Hurts might be out. What's the over-under on the game? Is it still 51.5? I'm charging my phone, and I just am. I'll go get it in a minute. I got to see these new. That's why. Um, but do we trust Dallas minus 5.5 against Philly? No. Martin Minshew is a very good quarterback from Washington State, so I don't really have a problem with Minshew as the quarterback over Hurts. It's not Hurts. It's the receivers, Smith and Brown. It's the running attack. It's the defense. This is a very strong team. Without Hurts, Minshew can still run like Hurts does. So we got to see. Theoretically, the over/under should go down to 47 if it's because of Hurts. And we see Dallas. I don't know why anybody would trust Dallas. Watching them play against Jacksonville, you're going to trust Dallas here? I think Philly just more ball controls it and uses their defense. And Prescott throws his 2-3 interceptions. I might like Philly in 11.5 more than I like Dallas for sure. But we'll get to that. Philly 13-1 in the teaser this year. Very strong road favorite. Dallas is a home dog. Not much there. And again, they're an over defense. Even with Minshew, don't think Minshew's terrible. He was good at Washington State. Chicago over, and you said with Bengals. Yeah, Chicago over and San Francisco under. Those three will be our key plays. We'll see about Philly, Dallas. Let's say Hurts is out. We might still take Philly in 11.5 because if I'm getting 11.5 with Philly, is Minshew really that? Is Hurts really that much better than Minshew? No, not really. Minshew's a very good quarterback out of Washington State, out of the Mike Leach camp. So I don't really see that problem. So let's get some more information, but I like Philly in the points. We'll see where the over/under is, but Philly's strong defense. This game's not going to be – Dallas is not going to go blow out Philadelphia if I'm the quarterback with my hurt ankle. So we'll see. Oakland Pitt, they're trying to make it the Immaculate Reception game. I don't think I see Franco Harris out there. I got Pitt -3, Pitt's -1.5. Why so low? You're dealing with Trubisky against Carr. Play against Pitt is a home favorite, 9-0. A nice trend on Oakland here. I got Pitt -3. It's 1.5. I think I said that. Oakland's an over team. Very strong offense, very weak defense. Pitt's an even team, 24-24 type of offense and defense. This should be a lot of points. Even with Trubisky, Oakland should light them up. I like Oakland as the dog if I'm getting 7.5 here. I like the over just because you don't really have a strong defense. Pitt's okay, but Oakland, this is a playoff game, if you can believe that. How are these teams still in the playoff chase? This is the problem. Neither team's close to 500, and they're in the playoff chase. It's going to be so boring, these first rounds of the playoffs with these 6-7 win teams in there. And you're like, what the fuck are they doing? And then you got the college playoff, and you got teams like Kansas State and UCLA and USC and Utah sitting on the sidelines, who are very strong teams. And here you got real shit teams still alive. So Pitt, Oakland Pitt playoff game. I like the dog. Oakland 7.5. I like the over 34.5. Jesus Christ, with the in an Oakland game. And then the Steelers defense is okay, but what did they do? Carolina 24-16, a 40. All right, that's 40s the over under. We tease it to 34, and the difference is you got Oakland with a good offense, not Carolina with a shit offense. So we'll see what happens. We've got Green Bay, Miami. That would have been an interesting Super Bowl, too. Although Miami sucked in Super Bowl, too. Miami -4.5. I got a -4 at home. playoff game. Green Bay has to run it out. Miami's pretty much in the playoffs. They now probably can't catch Buffalo, so they're pretty much the first wild card team at 4.5. We've got over under 46.5, which seems like the play. So you got to, I don't know that Green Bay is an under team. Let's call them an E team, even though it was 24-12. They're scoring they'll give you a 20-point game, Green Bay now. Miami's unfortunately going to give you a 30-point game like they did against Buffalo and at home. Miami is a whole different team at home than they are on the road. Very, very strong. Here's my stat. Play against Green Bay, 16-1 on the road. Miami, 13-2 in Miami this year. 21-2 the last 2 years in Miami. 21-2 if you bet Miami at home. 16-1 if you bet against Green Bay on the road. I can't make it any easier than that. Take Miami plus 1.5. Yes, I know Green Bay needs the game, but good luck stopping the Miami's offense. They played well in Buffalo. Green Bay doesn't have the defense to stop them. If you really like 46.5 down to 40, that, if you're like, oh, I like Aaron Rodgers, I think they'll keep it close. Go over, because the only way they're going to keep it close, because Miami's going to score 30 here, is to score in the 20s. That gets you a 50. We need 40. Just a tremendous over here. Again, I don't get this over 46. Here, Detroit, Carolina's a 44. Okay, Seattle, KC a 49. All right, if that's 49, this should be 49. This is the same game. Green Bay and Miami, two strong offenses. Hey, Prophet, what site are you using to get your teaser stats? I'm using the Professor site. I do it in Excel. I have an Excel spreadsheet. So I take the finals and I have it all locked in. I don't have one. I can share that with you if you give me an email. I can email you my Excel spreadsheet if you have Excel to use it. Basically, it's got, you play the team. So in this case, let's look at Baltimore, Atlanta. Baltimore -7. If I go Baltimore -1, I go to home favorite because they're at home, and I'll just put in one. They win or they lose, whatever. There's a win and a loss column. Then I'll go over to the other side, play against Baltimore, and I'll go to home favorite, and I'll say, if I took Atlanta in 13, would I have won or lost? And I just keep going each week till I have 17 plays in there, and it gets broken into different spots. And then with that, then I use that to analyze like this year. So for example, this year, I got 5 strong teams that are over 90% in a teaser: San Diego, the Jets, Houston, Philly, and Atlanta. So you can see how Philly makes sense. The Jets, yeah, they're playing well. Atlanta, where did that come from? San Diego and Houston. So you're like, how the fuck did you get those teams? And yet I have Cincinnati and Buffalo, but they're not. They're like 75%. Then on the play against side, so if I look, who do I play against in the teaser? It's the Rams, New Orleans, and Atlanta at 14-1. If you just bet against them, like yesterday, you don't know anything about football, but you go, oh, the Rams are 14-1 against, or 13-1. I'll bet Green Bay, and then Green Bay wins, and now they're 14-1. So it's the Rams, New Orleans, Atlanta, Indy, and San Diego, which is what I get to which is why I bet Minnesota, because Indy's a play against. But where I get my San Diego data from, they're very strong if you play them, or very strong if you play against them. But if you get them as a dog, you don't play against them. And that's where I get it from. But I'm keeping my own because I don't think anybody has this. I've created it in Excel. I've had it since the early 90s. And it basically, it takes, I used to do college. I don't do college anymore. But in the pros, it takes all of 15 minutes after, like I did it yesterday. Well, I did it during the game yesterday, and then when the game was over, I just clicked in Green Bay won at home, and it just shows you the breakdown, and it shows you the psychology of the teams. Arizona is the greatest road dog there is, but they're terrible home. They're a terrible home team. Seattle's a great road dog, and San Diego's a great road dog, and it just shows you who to bet where. It shows you the Lions haven't been a road favorite in 3 years. All of a sudden, they're a road favorite against the Jets, and you bet against them, you win. So you keep in mind, like Jacksonville this year, they're a terrible home favorite, but they're the dog. They're a good play. But as a favorite, they're horrible. This week, what do we got? We got them as a road favorite at the Jets. That makes the play very easy to take the Jets because Jacksonville is not a road favorite type of team. And the Jets, they're not great at a home favorite, but they're good this year. You can see they got the good defense. They're a good team now. And that's usually the key to it, is getting a good defensive team. That's who we want to bet on. When you get a good defensive team, you bet on them, and that's really the start of a team being great. Like the 72 Steelers, they got that awesome defense, and that was it for 10 years. They started going down. Why? Joe Green retired, Mike Wagner retired. Because if you look at the 81 season, they played the Niners, and Mel Blount's out there, and Lambert's out there, and Ham's out there, and Bradshaw, Swan, and Harris. How the fuck, why didn't they go to the Super Bowl that year? They didn't have Joe Green. They didn't have Mike Wagner. So they didn't have the key players, and they couldn't, for some reason, replace them, which is weird because they had the greatest drafting staff you've ever seen in your life. I mean, they're pulling superstars out whenever they want. John Stallworth. Never heard of the college. Lambert, he's out of a MAC school. We'll take him. And Mel Blount from whatever, Texas A&I. Just pure genius, those guys. Not out of Alabama. So I can give you the file if you send me an email, but it's me keeping that kind of data is right. I thought of it. Really weeding out why I was losing, which I explained in that one video on when I was at the Lion game, and Eric Dickerson was on the Rams. They went to New England. I took New England -6 to even, and they lose 24-21 late in the game, and that's what started it. So you can see how it evolves. I didn't really understand this in the early 80s. But I was winning. I won all the time because I just played the Steelers, played the Raiders, played Montana, played Lawrence Taylor. It really didn't matter. But as I lost that type of a game, I wanted to know why, which led me to, well, maybe the Rams are a real strong road dog, and I would have played the Rams in the game. Maybe I would have played the game over or under, but I didn't do that. I just took New England even, like an idiot. And here's Eric Dickerson who beat me, and I'm like, should I have been on? I said to myself, should I have been on the Rams in 10? That's the question, because I listened to some idiot who said, well, they got to travel to the East Coast. It's a 1:00 game, so I let that bias me, which is why I say don't listen to these idiots. They'll bias you. You've got to come up with your own ideas why you're playing the game. That's why when I bring up somebody who says, these are my picks, I don't care. I'm glad you won. I'm sad if you lost. But if you don't come up with because of this and this and this, I don't care, because you're going to misguide everybody into looking at your pick that I'm doing the picking here. So that's where I get that from. As far as my other stats, as far as teams, I'm just going on Yahoo Sports NFL stats. And I'm getting, Detroit scores 30 and gives up 28, which is just an easy thing to look up. That's how I'm saying the team's an over or an under team. But you still have to read between the lines and see who are they playing and injuries. Is it really are the points still good? And that's where you gotta read between the lines on. So you got to know to look for that. You can't just take it at face value going, oh, this game should be over. Well, look at Philly. Jalen Hurts, he's out. Well, you're going to play it over without Hurts? Maybe you will with Minshew. If I get 11 and a half points, I'll take Ron Jaworski in 11 and a half. Okay, so where were we at? Green Bay, Miami. So I love the game over. I love Miami is such a strong favorite at home, and Green Bay is such a terrible road team, and they play shitty in Miami, as we all remember. So if you don't want to bet against Green Bay here, and I understand, then go over 40 points. Will be halftime. Denver, LA. I got LA -3. Denver's a 1 point favorite. I don't know if Russell Wilson's playing. Over under a 35 and a half. I mean, this is like trying to pick the Iowa games, right? They make the line so low you can't play it. 35 and a half. Mayfield sucks. Denver, great defense. Rams, Aaron Donald's out. Cooper, how are they going to score? 24-36. So, yeah, I think this is an under. I think all Denver games, the Rams without their offense, I think this is definitely an under game. Don't fuck around with the points here. I wouldn't take the Rams in 7, and I certainly wouldn't take Denver in 5. You can't trust them. Tampa. Okay, it's not a playoff game. It's one of the few where neither team's a playoff game. Tampa Bay, Arizona. I had Tampa -3 because Arizona's without Murray, I think. We'll double check. Tampa's really an under team, even though they let up 34. That was the Joe Burrow. That's where you go inside the numbers and you go, wait, it went against Joe Burrow. Let's check that out again. And then here comes now they're playing against Arizona without Kyler Murray. I think Colt McCoy, or he might have got hurt too. But Tampa must win from 3 to 4.5, over under 40. Tampa playing well. Now, if Tampa is going to win another game this year, it's this one. Even with Kyler Murray, I think they'd handle it. Brady looked a whole lot better. They just had that stupid penalty, or they fucked up the fake punt, and then it became 3 fumbles, and that was it. Against a very strong Cincinnati defense. Well, we don't have a very strong Arizona defense. We got Arizona, who's pretty much a W team without Kyler Murray. They don't score. They have no defense. Brady should light them up. See, I didn't expect Brady to light up Cincinnati. That's why I bet Cincinnati. In this situation, he should light up Arizona. And this is really, they're still in the lead. So they have to win, but they've had to win the last 6-7 weeks, and they don't. So I just think Tampa Bay with Brady handles Arizona 4.5, over under 40.5. Play against Arizona at home 14-1. There you go. There's another beautiful stat. So I just like Tampa over under 40. I don't know what Arizona is going to bring to the table. Tampa Bay, Brady will get me 20. Arizona, maybe 10. So I don't know. I think I'd go under more than I go over unless Kyler Murray plays, but I think he's out. Yeah, he hurt his knee. I think he's gone. So Tampa Bay in a must win. And then our last game, San Diego against Indy. I got Indy -3 at home, praying I get San Diego as a dog, but no, they don't give it to me. They make San Diego a 3-point favorite. Over under 47. Took me all 5 seconds to go, oh, the play's Indy and the play's over. Play against San Diego, 26-5. They're a lousy favorite. They're a lousy road. They're not a lousy road team, but they're a lousy as their favored. Had they been dog, this would have been a lock, San Diego 9. This is why I get frustrated in some of the locks that I can't play, like this one. Why isn't Indy a 3-point favorite? Fucking, they put up 35 on Minnesota. Their 36 gave them all they wanted. Go to overtime, I think. And like, what the fuck? What do you want them to do? 36 on Mini. And they're still a 3.5-point home dog. Now, Indy, I don't think needs it again. I think Indy's too far back. I think they needed it against Minnie, but I think they're gone. San Diego needs it, and they've been playing well. But if you notice, they don't blow you out. They against Tennessee, it was a tough game. They're at Indy. This will be a tough game. Over under 47. I think this goes way over. Even though Taylor's out, they still ran it fine against Minnie. They did get the block punt and the pick six. They let up a whole lot of points. San Diego explosive will score. So if you're afraid of San Diego beating you by 10, then go to the over 41 and this game should be over by halftime. So let's summarize. Jacksonville Jets, it's a playoff game. Houston, Tennessee. Tennessee's trying to wrap up their division. Jets and Minnie, it's a playoff game, but Minnie's wrapped up their division. New Orleans, Cleveland, playoff game, even though these two teams suck. Buffalo, Chicago, it's all Buffalo. They are looking for the one seed, and they got Cincinnati coming up. Seattle, KC. This should be a playoff game. I didn't highlight Seattle, but Seattle is in the playoffs. Oh, another playoff game. I think this spread's way too high. 9.5. They couldn't handle fucking Houston. They're gonna go blow out Seattle because the game's at home. I don't think so. But I love this. Should be a very high scoring game. 49-33. Seattle 10-2 is a road dog. Just stats. KC really nothing as a home favorite because they're usually. Why are they 9.5? This team doesn't deserve to be 9.5. You beat Houston 30-24. You're going to be 9.5 over Seattle? I don't think so. Especially with Walker playing, the running back, Michigan State, and Lockett and Metcalf, as long as they're healthy. I don't see how KC holds them. And that leaves Seattle needs the game. So playoff game. Cincinnati, New England, playoff game. Cincinnati going for the one seed, going to win their division. So they're going to keep going Joe Burrow. And if they're lucky, New England will give them a couple laterals in the middle of it. Detroit, Carolina, playoff game. Atlanta, Baltimore, playoff game. Washington, Frisco, playoff game. Philly, Dallas, playoff game. Philly going for the one seed. I guess if Dallas wins out and Philly loses out, they get the one seed, or they get they win the NFC East, I guess. Philly's going for the one seed with the win, and really, it's Minnesota that they're trying to beat out. So I don't know. I think Philly maybe I don't know if they wrapped up. No, they just wrapped up a playoff berth, but you give me 5.5. I got to take Philly there. Oakland, Pitt, playoff game. Green Bay, Miami, playoff game. Tampa Bay, Arizona, Tampa Bay. San Diego, KC, San Diego. So the only game in this mess that's not is Denver, LA because of the injuries. And the only teams not in the playoffs, Houston, Chicago, Denver, LA, Arizona, and Indy. What the fuck kind of league is this? This is week 16, and you don't have anything really settled or looked at or anything. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Let me try to get my phone. Hopefully my foot's still okay. It's always that first step, but today it's been okay. Yeah, it's a little stiff. I'm sitting too much. I need to call my doctor and get a few more of the pills. He only gave me 3 pills. It was really weird. Normally when I get the colchicine, it's like 10 pills and you take 2 a day for a few days, and then it's usually gone by the 3rd day. I only got 3, which I took all yesterday, but I can't do this. My foot stiffens up. So let's look at the line. And I'm going to have to wrap it up. Let me just check something. All right, so let's go through the line. I don't have time to go through injuries here. I'll have to do it on my couch. Jacksonville, 1.5, 37.5, down from 39.5. Minnesota, 3.5, 47.5. Line didn't move. Cleveland, 3, 31.5. Wow, that line went down from 34.5, 31.5. Wow. Detroit, 2.5, 44.5. Down from 3. Cincinnati, 3.5, 41.5. All right. The over moved up a little bit. Buffalo, 8.5, 40.5. Up from 8 and 40. Tennessee, 5.5, 37.5, down from 7. Down from 39.5. So both the 39.5 went down to 37.5. I didn't particularly think 39.5 was right. I certainly don't think 37.5 is right. KC, 9.5, 48.5. Down from 4. So now, why is this line going down? KC, 9.5, didn't the over-under drop. Baltimore, 7.5, 37.5. Up from 7. Frisco, 7.5, 39.5. That didn't move. Dallas, 5.5, 46. So it looks like Hurts is out, which is okay. Over under down to 46. So if it is indeed Minshew, I like Philly in 11.5. He's a good quarterback. I'm not worried about him. Jalen Hurts isn't that good. Not like losing, Aaron Rodgers or anything. Pitt, 2.5, up from 1.5, which is good because I like Oakland. 39.5 from 40. Miami, 4.5, 48.5. So I think the 48.5 went up. Denver, 1.5, 36.5. Up from 35.5. That's good. Tampa Bay, 641.5. I don't know why that moved. I mean, you knew Kyler Murray was out. And San Diego, 3.5, 46.5. Down from 47.5. So nothing big. The games we liked. Buffalo, Chicago, still a 40.5. Seattle, KC, down to 48.5. Cincy, New England, 41.5, still 3.5. Detroit, Carolina, 44.5, still 2.5. Frisco, Washington, still 7.5, 39.5. Philly, Dallas is your only major change, 5.5, 46. But I still probably lean to an under here because I think Philly will run the ball more. But I do like Philly in 11.5 against anybody. They're probably the one team that can beat Georgia. Oakland, Pitt. I like Oakland getting 8.5 now. What the hell's going on with that line? So you got to be careful. Check for the injuries when you see a line movement. Miami, Green Bay, still like Miami, still like the over. Tampa Bay went up to 6. Don't know why. 41.5 under. San Diego stayed at 3.5. 46.5. So that's your pro plays. Well, that's not your plays. That's just your pro. Just your pro things, but we won't be able to look at injuries right now. I can't set. So Profit, just send me an email, www.teaserking.com. Send me an email, and we can I can send you my spreadsheet if you'd like it. I have sent it out before. So real quick, the bowl games. I've been hot on them, even though I don't like a lot of them. UAB, Miami of Ohio, I like the under 50.5, 24-20. UTSA Troy, my only loser, over 49.5. They play an 18-12 game, which holding UTSA to 12 is surprising. Cincinnati Louisville had it under 45, 24-7. SMU BYU, really no play in the game because I don't know who's BYU ended up using like their fourth-string quarterback, and they won 24-23. Washington State, Fresno State, the free play under 58, 29-6. Washington State always plays low-scoring games. Rice SMU, no take on it, 38-24 Southern Miss. Oregon State, Florida, I loved Oregon State. It's funny, I played it two different ways. I played it Oregon State and I played it under, and they both won. Oregon State wins 30-3. Once Richardson goes out, they're not gonna. They're not gonna score a lot, and Oregon State with a strong defense, so can't play the game over. So with the quarterback out, we go under 58. Boise, North Texas, I like the game over. I don't play it. Over 53, 35-32. And yesterday, Marshall, big win, 28-14, a 42. And we had it at under 41.5, which was under 47.5. So that was a big winner on some tickets. So today's EMU, San Jose State, and Toledo Liberty I'm not touching. Later on, we got Baylor Air Force, Houston Lou Lafayette, Wake in Missouri. And then as we get to the weekend, San Diego State, Middle Tennessee, I don't know. Bowling Green, New Mexico State. New Mexico State I like. I don't understand that line. Georgia Southern, Buffalo, Memphis, Utah State on the 27th. Now, once we get to the 27th, 28th, then we'll really be up once we get it. We have a lock going already, 2 locks going. We got that lock. We got over. I got 2 college locks. Next week, we're playing the Michigan TCU, of course, playing Georgia, Ohio State, USC, Utah. Looks like Rising's playing, but we'll wait a little bit on that. Kansas State, I like. Clemson, Tennessee. I like all Tennessee's players are sitting down. UCLA, I got to be careful. I'm waiting to hear on UCLA. I'm not sure if what's going on. Thompson Robinson and Charbonnet have been practicing. The line dropped from 6 to 3.5. Maybe they're not going to play, but they're still practicing. So they're still not said they're not playing. So I like UCLA if they do play. If they don't, I probably still like them because Pitt's quarterback's already out, and I like UCLA's quarterback better. And I like their backup better than UCLA's, and I like the, Kelly, Chip Kelly is going to score a lot more than Narduzzi. So we do like that. So again, we'll be looking at that. So really, the 27th is when we'll get into it a little bit more. Really not much play this week. I think just the 2 games, the 2 college for now. Maybe Baylor, Air Force, maybe Houston, Lou Lafayette. We'll see. But we got to look for that. Just okay, no problem, Prophet. I'll send you that. Let me know if you have any questions, but basically you're filling it out. Um, I can give you this year's that I've already filled out. But what you do is then you add last year and this year, then you add, so you keep adding the new year, and then you do in Excel. You can add spreadsheets, so you can say, give me Minnesota 2019 with home favorite, Minnesota 2020 home favorite, Minnesota 2021, Minnesota 2022, and add them up as a home favorite, and then just copy the formula. Now they're you know now they're home dogs. Now they're road favorites and road dogs. The problem you get into is all this movement of coaches and quarterbacks that make it extremely difficult to use them. If okay, we can use Jalen Hurts the last couple years, but I can't use before. I can use Tom Brady at Tampa. I can't use New England. Now you get new trends with New England. Now I can use Buffalo because they've been about 3 years. In Miami, really, I can use this year, maybe 2 years. So I used to go back 5 years and get some really strong trends. But the problem is, if I go back 5 years, name anybody that's been there 5 years. All right, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes. Okay, I can use a few teams. But when you got Russell Wilson going to Denver, I got to kind of throw out the Seattle. But Seattle's trends are still good because Geno Smith looked fine, and they have Metcalf and Lockett, and they have Coach Pete. So I can stick with the Seattle trends, even though I lost Russell Wilson. I got a good quarterback, and it's just things like that. So we will see, but that's what's happening. So I think that's about it. www.teaserking.com. Again, you can buy all the bowls. I think it's 100 and a quarter on the site. If you go into the purchase picks, go into college, it'll just say the rest, all the college bowls, 1 and a quarter. So you get everything through the playoff, which will be, so we got the second, and then the playoff, I think, is the week after whoever's in the playoff. It'll be Georgia. So we'll have that. And then if you want everything, it's $200. You'll get the rest of the pros. And I'd advise to be on the pros pretty soon. I'm 9-1 now. I'm 10-1, hitting the locks. Really focused in on the pros now. I really got a feel for, like, what happens is at first you're on Tampa Bay and Green Bay, and they're losing. And you're betting them, oh, Tampa's got to win, Green Bay, and they keep losing. And you're missing out on the Jets, and you're missing San Francisco, and you're missing I didn't miss Cincinnati, but some of these weaker teams you're missing out, or you're betting Jacksonville, or you shouldn't. And maybe you're on the Rams, but they're not the same. So you're really hunting for the team, which has turned out to be Philadelphia, Cincinnati, the Jets. Those are the teams you should be on. But you're not. You're on Brady and Rodgers because they're the best in Kansas City. Maybe you're on Buffalo, but they're not covering. And so that's what happens at the beginning of the year. And that's what I tell you, to wait a few weeks to figure out who do we play this year. And as we can see, it's, exactly who with San Diego, the Jets, Houston, Philly, and Atlanta. So, how many times did you bet Atlanta? How many times did you bet the Jets? You bet Philly. You could have locked Philly every week, but you didn't know. And all of a sudden they're good. And then you can bet against LA, New Orleans, Indy, San Diego, and Atlanta. See, Atlanta and San Diego are on both pages because they play close games. So if we just would have bet against LA, Indy, and New Orleans, San Diego, and they're the favorite, you'd clean up. But you got to go through the trends to see that. And that's why I do that sheet. That's what your real goal is to figure out. In college, it's a little different. They're there a few years, but you do get a lot of, like, this year it was Utah, UCLA, USC, Oregon. Well, Oregon we didn't know about, and Washington we didn't know about. but I was all over UCLA and Utah all through the season. And then when in USC, I said, this is ridiculous. This is Oklahoma. And I remember locking them early against Stanford, only laying 1 point. It was the easiest lock I had all year. So, again, that's what you're looking at. So keep that in mind. That's what you're looking to hunt. In the pros, that's what you're looking for the trends for. In the college, we're looking more over-unders, quarterbacks, coaches. But we're not on Alabama. We're on Georgia, but we're not on Alabama. We're on Tennessee until a kid got hurt, and Utah and teams like that, because they were they were the teams to bet on. So that's really what you're looking. Who do I bet on? And you've got to be very I don't know what the word is. You got to be very open. Let's say that. So is this, you can't say, oh, I'm not taking UCLA. Fuck, you don't win every week with UCLA. We locked UCLA over, Utah over, USC over so many times when it's so much money on them. So you've got to be open. If you don't like the team, to at least go over or under on them. And even now, there's a lot of good over-unders in the bowl. I mean, Oregon, North Carolina, Kansas, Arkansas, Texas Tech, Mississippi. Texas isn't playing their running back, so I like Washington there. And, Pitt, UCLA, we're on UCLA if they play, which we got to wait to see. Interesting game, Notre Dame, South Carolina. They played really well against Clemson and against somebody else at the end there, South Carolina. So I think they're going to light up Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame has a chance in the game. And Clemson's not going to have Uglia Bugula anymore. So I look for them to really blow out fucking Tennessee, because Tennessee doesn't have their quarterback. The best two receivers are sitting out. Texas's best running backs are sitting out. So we just got to hope we don't get hit. Yeah, the over is Utah over if Ryzen plays. I just like Utah if Ryzen plays. I don't even care about the over, but I think the over gets there too. We got to see what it is, because their tight end and the running back are sitting out for Utah. But the running back, I don't care. Their other running backs look fine. The tight end's a good tight end, Kincaid. But still, as long as Rising plays. But again, I mean, as of now, he's playing. But, we've seen 30 minutes before game time, the guy sits down and says, you know what, I'm not playing. What the fuck? So that's what there needs that rule. Like, okay, you have till now. You have a week before. So they should be, all right, Utah, if you don't say by the 25th, everybody's playing. You can't, because the whole thing then becomes betting, which is fixed games, right? They're going to fix the game into whoever they, all the money is on Utah. Okay, Rising, you're sitting out. And that's what you don't want to see. So you want to know all that information. That's why you just go by the point spread. If the line moves, then we know there's a problem. If it doesn't, so far it's been moving right. Utah 2.5, USC 2.5. So that looks like their guys are playing. Even with the hamstring, it looks like Williams for USC's. Their quarterback's playing. So if he's playing, it's good for us. So anyway, that's what we got. But again, we got to kind of wait and make sure everybody's playing. Now in Kansas, I'm not worried about Kansas sitting anybody down. Although they do have a great tight end, but I'm not worried about it. In Arkansas, Jefferson, I can't imagine sitting. That game, I already put a big bet in. But I don't know. Oklahoma, Florida State should be interesting. Oklahoma's already sitting out some tackles and a defensive player. I can't imagine Gabriel sitting out. He's a good quarterback, but he needs exposure. So we'll see what's going on there. But keep your eye on the line movements. Usually they move for an injury, not the betting, but we'll see. All right, I got to go lay on the couch. I got to go call the doctor and get more pills because my foot's like swelling up again, and I need I need 6 pills. I can't believe you gave me 3. It has to be a mistake because I've never gotten 3. When you get a gout, you get colchicine, which is good, but you take 2 the first day, 2 the second day, 2 the third day, and you're all fine. So let me call the doctor and go get more. Oxy 30 is good on gout. Oxy 30 is what, a skin thing? So if I rub it on my foot, my swelling will go down? Interesting. I can try that, but I just assume take a few more of those. Prescription was cheap enough for 6 pills. It was $16 at Kroger's, so I'm fine with that. But good. Okay, I will look into that too. Problem is, it's hard to walk right now, so I can't really shop and do. I can't go to the pool just to walk in from the parking lot. It's all I can use. So I just been lying on the couch with the TV and the computer, but we'll see. Anyway, I hope to be on tomorrow. If I'm not, it's because of the gout, and then I'll try to be on Thursday to talk about the Thursday Jacksonville Jets. Merry Christmas to everybody, although I'm sure I'll be on by Sunday, but just go enjoy your holidays. Buy your gold and silver. Apparently, we got till the 27th, and who the fuck knows? I keep waiting. The U.S. is going to fight it pretty hard because they want the dollar. And the one thing is there will not be a central bank digital currency. Will not happen here. Thank you, Prof. It's not going to be because it's got to get voted in by Congress. And who elects the Congress people are the banks and Wall Street. The banks don't want to lose their money. Digital currency, central bank, they don't put anybody in office. The banks, the JP Morgans and Chase. So if you hear them going to digital currency, then they will happen. Without them, it ain't happening because JP Morgan, we know how crooked he is, and we know how crooked Chase is. So they will not want to lose the printing press. So keep that in mind. So there won't be digital currency. So what I said about credit cards and mortgage, I don't think that'll happen in the U.S. So don't bolster your credit card thinking, oh, I don't have to pay it off. I assume you will and go from there. But it's not in the U.S. See, I think where it's confusing is what happens in the U.S. and what happens in Brazil and what happens in Sri Lanka and what's happening in Japan and China are a little different colors. So keep in mind, we're in the U.S. I think they'll just come out with new currency. I don't think they'll go to digital currency. It's just way too hard for them. So look for them to go to the new, well, we've come out with the new dollar and they'll give you 70 cents on your dollar in the bank to lower prices, I guess. But they can't keep raising interest rates. They're already breaking the whole world, which is part of the plan. But just stay safe. And that's the best advice I could give you. Give your girlfriends gold and silver. They'll be very happy. Whenever I give my girlfriend gold and silver, she's very excited by it. She knows what it is. And when she gets it, she's extremely excited. And you don't have to give her an ounce. Just give her a quarter ounce and a couple of silvers. And just getting gold, they love it. So better than flowers, better than candy. And I tell her, don't worry, it's going to go up. And she understands that part. She gets that it'll be 30, 40,000 for the gold and a couple thousand for the silver. And I'm getting real tired. One more thing. I'm getting real tired of all these idiots on YouTube, silver collapse and everything. They're misleading you. That's COMEX. That's paper silver. It's not the physical we talk about that's going to go to the moon. It's the paper that's collapsing because they need to back it up with real physical, and there isn't any. So please keep in mind, when they're talking COMEX, they're talking paper. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking physical silver ounces and gold ounces, and they're going to the moon. So keep that differentiation in mind. Why they don't differentiate and why the fuck they're talking about COMEX. Who gives a fuck about COMEX? It's paper. It doesn't mean anything. That's not the true price. As long as we have physical, we want our silver and gold priced in physical, which I've told you is 50,000 and at least 2,000 or 3,000, at least minimum. So That's what you got to keep in mind. All right. I got to go call the doctor and go get some more pills. Have a great day. It was nice seeing you. I'm sorry. It was just too painful to try to do this over the weekend, but I had given you the plays and the free play. And many of you are already customers, so you see the picks. But I'm happy the Buffalo, Washington State under free pick won. And, well, I'll give you a free pick on Thursday or Friday when I come back on. I'll make sure I come on just for that for a couple of the people. All right, everybody, have a great day. Have a great Christmas. And I hope to see you tomorrow or Thursday. All right, take care.